Do you solemnly swear to perform the duties of the poll worker to the best of your knowledge and capabilities for the town of Barnstable?
I do.
Thank you all, sir.
All
All right.
The town of Barnstable is ready for you to vote. Next Tuesday, September 4th, is primary day here in Massachusetts, and our polls will be ready for you. With me today, Ann Quirk, Town Clerk. Welcome.
Thank you.
I love saying that, Ann Quirk, Town Clerk.
I love that it rhymes.
It's like that position is exactly what you were made for, right?
It is.
It is.
It is.
Well, you do such a wonderful, wonderful job. You had all your poll workers in this past week to get sworn in and trained and ready to go. So how do you feel about this year's class?
I think these wardens and clerks are going to be great. It's always difficult because there's so many months in between every election. And we just have to have that refresher to keep on top of things. And little things happen, little changes happen along the way, and we hear from the Secretary of State's office that we need to do this now or we need to do that. I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Right. And although that wasn't all of my poll workers, because if it was all of them, we would have filled the town hall hearing room, seriously, because there's so many people. But each one of those folks that was in is responsible for turning around and taking care of their crew.
Great. So you have kind of head people in charge at each polling place. Well, that's great.
Correct.
So these folks here, what do they do?
Well, my wardens are really, they're representing me at all the locations because I have 13 precincts. I can't be at every precinct. I envy some of my fellow town clerks that can be in one location with 3 or 4 of their polling places, and that's all they have, and they're right there and they can oversee the whole thing. But I can't do that, so I have to do it by phone, and these folks really are well trained. They know their job. They're standing in for me as a warden in each of the locations, and then they make sure that when someone walks up and says, I'm supposed to be able to vote here and I can't vote here, why can't I vote here? They have the answers.
Okay. So with wardens and poll workers, obviously these folks are there from the beginning to the end of the election day. That's a long day for folks.
Huge. It's huge. They start at 5 o'clock in the morning because we have to get the ballots out there to them and so forth. So our day starts around 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. The polls open at 7. And they are working until 8 when the polls close, and then there's still work that needs to be done before they can leave the polling location.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about ballots and ballot machines. Been in the news recently. Paper ballots here or electronic ballots? What are we using?
We're on paper ballots, and I love my paper ballots because it's something I can go back and check if I had to. If someone says to me, okay, we want to have a recount, we have the actual paper ballots that were voted in that precinct. Right. They're locked up, they're sealed at the end of the night by the warden and the clerk, and then they're transported back here and into my vault. So they're sealed and kept until, actually for 22 months we have to keep them. Wow. So should there ever be anything that we have to go back and look at, I have all that information. The other thing is, we're not connected to anything except electricity.
Okay.
So there's no way for anyone to actually get into my AccuVote, which is the name of the computer that actually counts your ballot.
Okay.
There's no way, it's not connected to anything except electricity.
That is good news for those who may be concerned that there's voting irregularities. There isn't in the town of Barnstable. You've run really clean elections. So we have 3 ballots out there. We have a Republican ballot, we have a Democrat ballot, and we have a Libertarian ballot.
A Libertarian.
This year. Yeah. Wasn't anything on it.
There's one person running on the Libertarian ballot.
Okay.
But it's important to know that because if you're unenrolled or you're not in the Democratic, Republican, or Libertarian parties, you get to choose your ballot.
Right.
But if you are in a Republican Party or the Democratic Party or a Libertarian, that's the ballot you get. Right. And it is something that, as I try to make sure that all the wardens know, it's a cross-check. when you come up and you come in to vote and I say to you, I see that you're unenrolled. What ballot would you like? I have to repeat that out loud. So you hear it, I hear it, and I hand you that ballot. And that's important as a cross-check or a check and balance of what we're doing and what we're handing out.
Right. So unenrolled can go in and choose any of those 3 ballots, actually.
That's right.
But if you're enrolled as a Republican or a Democrat, you're going to take the ballot of your party.
That's exactly correct.
Excellent. And the poll worker will make sure that they repeat that so there's no mistakes.
And they have to actually write it down on the voting lists that they have. And
Okay.
the reason for that is because then it has to come back to me, and we have to put that back into the voter registration information system so that the state knows that I had X amount of ballots that went out, I have X amount of ballots that were not voted, and this is how they were voted.
Great. So let's talk. Voting's already kind of happening here. Absentee ballots were available a couple weeks ago for folks, but there's a deadline for those.
Absolutely. This Friday, the 31st, 5 p.m., we close the doors. That's it. We cannot accept any more requests for absentee balloting.
Okay. So if you've got an absentee ballot, you got to get it mailed back. What happens to those?
They all come back to the office, hopefully, and then we have to cross-check them on our voter list, and we bring them out to the polling locations on Election Day. And the warden makes sure they get fed through the AccuVote machine.
Okay. So August 31st is the date, no more after that, and that they have to be here by Election Day, September 4th.
Yes, so
Okay.
if they're planning to mail them, they really better get them to us as quickly as possible because there's not going to be any mail on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday.
Right, long weekend. It's a start of a kind of a strange polling and voting, you know, the day after Labor Day. So last thing we want to talk about, because we really want to make sure that folks that are voting in the physical premises know where they're going. We've had 3 precincts change venues this year. We want to make sure that everybody shows up at the right place. So let's start. Precinct 1 was where and is going to?
It was at the West Barnstable Elementary School,
Okay.
and it is now at the Zion Union Church at 805 Addicks Lane in Hyannis.
Okay. So that's a definite change. So instead of West Barnstable, you're over into Hyannis for that voting. It's the Zion Church at the end of Addicks Lane.
Right.
Excellent. Okay. And then my favorite, the Millbillies. Where are the Millbillies going to vote this year? Where were we and where are we going?
We were at the commonly referred to as the BUE, the Barnstable United Elementary School. We are now at the Seventh-day Adventist Community Building. So when you look from Route 28 at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, they have a big building to the left, and that's where we're voting. They have a huge parking lot. We're going to have a police officer on duty all day long from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. for people to turn in and turn out of that onto 28.
Okay. Us Millbillies know there's a back way off of Osterville, Barnstable, too. Avoid 28. So you said polls are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm
Correct.
standing in line at 8 p.m. Do I still get to vote?
Yes, the police officer will stand right behind you, and you're the last person to vote.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready. I hope everybody in Barnstable is ready to vote. We are going to have the day after Labor Day. I know it's a tough day for folks. Kids are back in school, but it's really important. This is primary day in Massachusetts.
Excellent. Yes.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.